points on the Sandburg Eagles. This first half has been capped off by good defense and stellar offense. Third quarter after
it might be, it can be, and it is! Touchdown!
Now, your Lincoln-Way East Griffins.
Good evening, folks. My name is Dan Galligan. I'm here tonight with my partner, Brendan King, and we are looking forward to an exciting evening of Lincoln-Way East football. How you doing tonight, Brendan?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Not too bad. Looking forward to tonight. We have the Knights of Lincoln-Way Central, our, would you call them sister school, parent school? What do you call them?
Well, first of all, thanks to Mr. Miller for giving me a water. I really appreciate it.
He's
our third man tonight. He's manning the iPhone, but also your question. I think they're our sister school, a brother. I mean, what are they going to be? I mean, a Knight's kind of more of a brother. I mean,
true, but they sort of came first, so there's definitely a district relation. That's for sure.
Yeah, all right.
You know, over the years, this has obviously been an interesting rivalry. Not so much because of the outcome, because East has really gotten the best of Central over the years. I think Central has really only beaten East one time since East has had a varsity program, and that was in the first year.
Wow, really?
And ever since then, it's been all East. But nevertheless, just, you know, the history there and the relationship between the two schools is what makes this a great rivalry.
Definitely. It is a great rivalry. I'm really looking forward to tonight.
And as we speak, the Lincoln-Way East and Central marching bands, two of the best marching bands in the state, are walking towards midfield together. You're getting a great shot at that on the screen now. And when they start performing, we want you to enjoy that, so we're going to turn it over to them. But as you can see, when those two bands get together, the choreography and the synchronization is amazing.
And now, please rise and remove your hats for their singing of our alma mater by combined members of the Lincoln-Way Central and Lincoln-Way East Chorale students, and remain standing for the playing of our national anthem by the combined Lincoln-Way Central Marching Knights and Lincoln-Way East Marching Griffins, followed by each team's respective fight song.
Beautiful rendition of the Lincoln-Way alma mater, and now in a moment we're going to give you the, well, what are they going to do? They're not going to sing they're not going to play the East Fight song, are they? Not with members of Central.
We'll have to see.
Nah. But I think they can agree on the anthem, though. They'll play that together.
I think they can. A nice applause for both the Lincoln-Way Central and Lincoln-Way East bands, and it's really nice tonight. We don't get to hear the alma mater every time, so it's really nice for Central and East to join together.
Yeah, nice little change up there, and of course we've talked many times about the atmosphere that their performances bring to the game, and it's very much like a college atmosphere because the bands are so great. And let's not overlook the color guard, the ROTC. It's just a great atmosphere for a high school football game.
It is.
We're looking forward to what should be an interesting one tonight.
Yeah, well, East currently ranked as some websites by the #1 team in the state. They're 6-0, just coming off a big win from Bolingbrook. And Lincoln-Way Central, I mean, they're having I say mediocre season. It's 3-3.
Well, they're 3-3, and they've had some difficult seasons in the recent past. So they might actually be turning a corner here if they could finish strong this season. 5-4, 6-3. Although 6-3 would involve beating us tonight, and I certainly don't want to see that happen. But they may be making some progress. And you mentioned that we have been ranked fairly high. Some services may have us at #1. Most I've seen have us at 3 behind Maine South. And is it Glenbard West that's in front of us?
Yeah, it's
as well?
Glenbard West.
Yeah, and those are the usual culprits. We've played Glenbard West in the playoffs. We've beaten Maine South in the state championship game. So those are the programs that you would expect to be up there, and sure enough, they are. But the one thing that we did by virtue of our win last week over Bolingbrook is we really kind of moved up and showed that we're in that conversation to be #1.
And last week against Bolingbrook, Bolingbrook, they really stepped off quick. They had the first touchdown of the game, and I said last week in one of the post-game shows is that I thought it was going to be a bloodbath to start off, and then really Lincoln-Way East responded really nicely.
Well, it looked like that after the second play because, they went down there and they scored on a big run on the second play of the game, and it was just kind of like, uh-oh, what's happening? But that was essentially the end of their offense for a long time. Now, there were some injuries. Their quarterback, who's committed to U of I, was injured on that play, and he didn't come back. One of their running backs had a very serious leg injury. I don't know, how important he was to their game plan. Certainly not as much as Bailey, their quarterback. But injuries played a part in it. And, on the one hand, you have to give East defense credit because, they're so fierce and they hit so hard that, they essentially force some of those injuries. Certainly not maliciously, but when you play a team as hard-hitting and they all flock to the ball like East, you're going to have some guys get some bumps and bruises, that's for sure.
Well, East defense has been remarkable over the past 4 years I've been here, whether it's Pat Meehan, Eric Stanek, Nate Royer, as the Griffins will take the field. Coming out of the tunnel, the defense has done a fantastic job coming back with guys like Kyle Langendorfer, Mitch Murphy, Sean Doherty, and Jarrett Leakus, who really do hit hard.
Yeah, and last week, there were some distractions. There was the homecoming dance. There was the homecoming Olympics on Tuesday. There's just a lot of other things going on campus. Whereas this week, it's pretty much back to business. Okay, back to the usual grind. Let's just do the work and get it done. And hopefully that's what we're going to see tonight. We're going to see East get back to the grind. So we'll see. We're going to find out here in a minute.
Well, this morning, it definitely wasn't normal. You see what happened to the Griffin statue this morning?
I heard about some of these shenanigans. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I didn't get to see it personally. I of course heard from the rumors in the hallways, like Gulf High School, that somebody from Lincoln-Way Central, or his teachers or students, if it was the teachers, I don't know what they're doing, because I know East teachers definitely wouldn't do that.
No, I would never stoop to that level.
Yeah, well, I guess they decorated the Griffin statue in Central colors, red and black.
Yeah, and I also heard, and this is all conjecture, but I also heard that there was a note left, and that the note said, this isn't supposed to be malicious. This isn't an act of vandalism. It's just, good, clean fun, amongst these two sister schools. Feel free to return the favor next year. So I thought that was kind of, it was a cute prank, but it wasn't done with the wrong attitude. It was just like, hey, let's have some fun with this rivalry.
Well, I'll tell you, didn't appreciate when Hugo Griffin went out there to look at his statue. I think he shed a tear.
Yeah, well, he's going to have a chance to get some sweet revenge here. And it is the Knights who are kicking off to East. That ball does go into the end zone, so it'll be brought back. And our quarterback, Tommy Fiesel, who, I'll tell you what, you could make a highlight reel for the whole season just from what we've seen these first 6 weeks. I mean, wow, he has had some plays.
You really can. Tommy can dodge really any defender out there. You could put your whole team against Tommy. He could dodge you anywhere, anytime.
Well, some of the best plays that East has have been when Tommy has dropped back to pass and hadn't really seen anything, and has just had to make things happen. He's had some great runs, just improvising, really.
Yeah, we'll expect to see lots of that tonight. That's what he usually does. As the Griffins will start off, looks like in the shotgun, as they will with Nick Colangelo to Fiesel's right, like always. Colangelo had 2 touchdowns last week against Bowling Green. Both of them very long ones, and both helped Colangelo's confidence because he did not have many going into that game, as Colangelo will have the first run of the game. So that one's...
Well, that's not going to help his confidence. There
Yeah.
was nowhere to go on that first play. And one thing I do know about Central is that they have good size and they have some legitimate players on that defensive line. I mean, they've got guys who are going to some bigger schools. So we may have trouble getting through that first level. Where we do our damage might be against the linebackers and DBs.
Well, I again had a chance to talk to Tommy Fiesel this morning, and he told me of all the film that they watched this week, which is a lot. They watch a lot of film every week. He said he watched the most about the defensive line because look at it now. He's even dodging them. A nice blocks by the offensive line. His Fiesel will scramble, and he'll step out of bounds at around the 32.
Yeah, kind of a funny play. He was looking to pass, then he tucked it. He was running. Then that ball came back up next to his ear. He was looking to maybe pass again, and then he decided, nah, let's just hang on to it. Able to get something out of nothing, though. He gets about 6.5 yards.
Well, 3rd and 4. Well, Central's offense, however, has had its moments, and its moments that they'd like to forget about. I heard a story. They're beating HF 17-3 with a couple minutes left in the 4th quarter, and HF turned out to come back from that game. So definitely they got to work on that 2-minute offense.
Well, we've seen HF. We've beaten HF, but HF has got some players. And HF is a good team. They've got a nice squad. They have a lot of team speed. So I'm not shocked that they could put a couple of touchdowns on the board late in the game. But, yeah, obviously if you're Central, you want to close out those games, especially when you're trying to, get your program going in the right direction. And, as we talked about, they've struggled a little bit of late. So, those are games that they want and that they need to finish.
Oh, Corbett gets the run up the middle there. I remember the HF game. HF, they had a really good backfield. I remember they had Tajay Smith, who was getting the ball every other play, it seemed like.
Well, I was impressed with their quarterback. He may have been overshadowed a little bit that night by Tommy, but he did a nice job.
Pass out to Perry. Perry cannot get it as Piesel went deep there.
Boy, it looked to me like Perry, if he would have laid out, had a shot at that.
Yeah, it seems like Perry gave up on that one a little bit.
Well, he may have realized that he'd been interfered with, and it kind of threw everything off a little bit for him. So, anyways, that'll be the first down for Lincoln-Way. And we should mention that the sophomores won this afternoon. What was the score of that game?
It was 26-6.
Okay, so looking for the sweep now. The Friday night sweep.
The famous one. That seems to happen a lot.
Yeah, that has happened quite a bit over the years. If you look at the sophomore record over the last 9 or 10 years, there can't be more than a handful of losses.
Yeah. And that's why I'm so confident about the future of this program, because you get to see the sophomores. They're the guys who are going to be taking snaps in a couple of years.
Yeah, there are some programs that have to essentially look at Tommy. There he goes.
Oh, here goes Fiesel. Fiesel is still on his feet as he brought down at the 25-yard line. That just shows how quick Fiesel is.
Yeah, there are some programs, as I was saying, that they have to bring pretty much any talent they have up to varsity to be competitive, and a lot of times that leaves the lower levels a little decimated. But at East, generally our varsity is very good, our sophomores are very good, and our freshmen are very good. It's just across the board.
Just a couple big-name guys from the sophomore team who stood out today were, of course, quarterback number 9, Mike Weller, wide receiver Jackson Bax, running back Alex Kraft, and wide receiver John Zelenica.
24 yards later, touchdown Griffins,
That
with a 6-0 lead. You're sitting there reading off the names of sophomores nobody cares about.
Whoa,
We're
hey,
scoring touchdowns.
they're going to care about it in a couple of years.
Yeah, we'll care about them eventually.
As the Griffins score quick, like usual, I'd like to say.
Yeah, like usual, and we are sitting next to the Central coaches tonight. They're on the other side of the glass, and, they're just kind of like,
Let's eat some
not
popcorn.
a lot you can do about that one.
Yeah. Here's Sharini on for the extra point. That one only took a couple minutes to happen as Brett Fiesel will hold.
Well, a nice third down conversion early in the drive on 3rd and 4. A pass interference, a long run from Fiesel, and a long touchdown run. That's the gist of it.
7 plays, 80 yards for the Lincoln-Way East Griffins to start off with the roll as Tommy Fiesel will come right back out to kick off here.
There is actually a trophy that goes to the winner of this game. I don't know if it's got like a cool name or anything, but it does have the winner and score of every meeting between East and Central. And I was looking at it earlier. Terry Rossi was carrying it around. And, you know, I saw Central. They won that first year. I think it was 0-1. And they spanked us a little bit, Brendan. It was like 40-7.
Yep.
But ever since then, it's been East every time.
Well, that just shows how good the program has been for so long with excellent players coming and going. We've really been blessed.
Of course, Rob Zavona, the only head coach that we've ever had.
I think that'll do it, too. Only one head coach, I think that plays a part, too.
The continuity, absolutely. And a lot of his assistant coaches, a lot of his staff has been around for maybe not all of it, but for a lot of it.
Fiesel will kick off, and he was in the end zone as we're getting word up here, but no whistle from the refs as they'll carry it back to the 10-yard line.
Yeah, in high school ball, if the ball goes in the end zone, it's an automatic touchback. You do not have the option of running it back, but the referee saw things a little differently there. It's been happening a lot lately.
Man.
Had some issues with the referees in the NFL. I understand that there was an issue in the St. Louis-Atlanta playoff game tonight.
Yep.
And now this horrific call.
Well, hey, one thing about the NFL is
travesty.
They're gone, so we don't have to worry about them anymore. Unless one of them makes like a guest appearance.
Well, they'll probably be reffing some of these games because that's what they were doing. They were grabbing high school refs and college
they were
refs.
high school. I thought they were just college.
Well, I don't know.
All right. As Central will carry up the middle, they get about 4 on that one. So 2nd and 5 with the clock running, 9:47 to go. That one's carried by number 18, Stephen Beck. Beck, a running back, 5'10", 175 senior. Central's quarterback, number 10, Cal Hayes. He stands 5'9", 160 pounds. He's only a junior, so he'll be back for them next year. As Hayes is under center. He'll drop back to pass, looking for a man. He has one open and almost made the catch. Drops it, though, with good pressure from the Lincoln-Way East defense.
Well, you see that a lot in the NFL where they purposely underthrow the ball and the receiver comes back to it. Not sure that was the case there, but it almost worked in their favor. Probably should have been caught.
Well, if that would have been caught, that would have been a nice statement by Central, coming out quickly with the pass.
Well, that's one thing that teams that East plays generally don't have, and that's a lot of time to get too comfortable back there and throw the ball.
Hayes will come out under center, I form here, as the Griffins wait. They'll run it up the middle, a late giveaway. That's a draw and tackled. It looks like Langendorfer got in there.
That's going to be close. It looks like they're calling that a first down, so good play selection there. Little draw to pick up the first down.
Yeah, the late run really tricked the Griffins on that one, so that will be a first down. The clock keeps running at 9 minutes to go. 7-0, an early touchdown scored by the Griffins. Tommy Fiesel keeping warm on the sidelines, playing catch with backup Andrew Napoli. Got to stay warm here. This is one of the chilliest nights, I think, for a game this year.
Yeah, this is probably the first night where, you know, not that the weather's a factor, but it's a little uncomfortable.
Well, we got a meteorologist up here, so I think we'll be all right.
Oh, yeah. If we need to know if anything's coming, we got Steve Miller up here. He's got an iPhone, and he's got a direct line to whoever makes the weather.
Tom Skilling?
Tom Skilling.
As the Central band starts making some noise, both bands in opposite end zones today, so it might be the battle of the bands. Student section 2 is to our right as always, and Central's crowd looks like they got a couple students and many family members.
Big stop in the backfield for the Griffins. That's going to make 3rd and 6. Make that a little bit more difficult to convert.
Mitch Murphy with another tackle, one of the great linebackers here, along with Adam O'Grady and Kyle Langendorfer. But all 3 of them have been in lots of action this year as Adam Hold checks in on the line. defensive line has taken a hit as Mike Stakowitz earlier in the year sprained his ankle, and he was back for one game. However, he tweaked it a little bit more, so he's still out for today's game, so that we will not see number 95 on the defensive line here as Hayes will scramble, and he'll be brought down.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that is one of those injuries that you don't typically completely heal from until the season's over. So it is very easy to tweak an ankle.
And also a blow to the offensive line is number 63, Mark Varchetto, who really seriously injured his leg during practice a couple weeks ago, is out for the season. So a blow to both lines can possibly hurt the Griffins. So be sure they're definitely going to miss Varchetto and Stakowitz.
Well, and you talked about the young guys and the guys that have to step up and step in, and that's why it's so important, because injuries are a part of this game. Fake.
There's a fake run perfectly by the Knights as they'll get the first down as Justin Corbett, who was out to receive the punt, didn't see it quick enough, and he ran in to make the tackle. However, they'll get a first down on that.
Well, you can look at that in a couple of ways. It was a nice play. They converted, so I suppose it was worth it. On the other hand, if you're running fake punts in the first quarter at the 25-yard line, you probably don't have a lot of confidence in your offense moving forward. You kind of feel like you have to resort to trickery and do that sort of thing.
Well, I think it was our first game against Carmel where Fiesel came out to punt for the first time this year. We faked it right away, so you got to do whatever you can to win.
Well, you know, that was an interesting game, if you recall, and here's another
reverse here. Hayes is brought down heavily. Brendan Sleeman.
What I was saying was that Carmel game, if you recall, you know, I don't think East knew what they had on offense. They didn't know what they had with Fiesel because they were extremely conservative for the first 2 quarters of that game. I mean, it wasn't even until the second quarter that they let Fiesel throw a pass.
Well, when they did let Fiesel throw a pass, they realized, oh,
they're like, oh, he's good.
Yeah, go back out. Do some more. Hayes comes out in the shotgun. 2nd and 15 as a handoff.
Oh,
hit hard.
That's one of the bigger hits you'll see.
That is Jarrett Leakus. Many Griffins were in there.
That's your reward for getting a fresh set of downs.
It looked like Leakus, Langendorfer, and maybe Murphy were in there. Third and 11. Hayes is under center. Got 1 running back, 3 wide receivers available. Griffins are ready. Hayes drops back to pass. Looking for his man. He's got number 80. He'll go past the first down. That's 80, Kevin Ward.
The perfect call for that play. They had a feeling that the Griffins would be letting the dogs out, so to speak, so they had the screen ready to go.
It looks like Ward's a little shaken up, so he'll get some attention.
First down, but yeah, as you mentioned there, we've got an injury on the field. We've been seeing too much of this lately.
We really have. There have been a lot of injuries. Any baseball fans out there, there's a controversial call in the Cardinals-Braves game as the Cardinals won the game 6-3. As looks like there are 2 controversial plays, one on an infield fly, the simplest of all baseball plays, it seems like.
A full week in Hawaii is your reward. Airfare and hotel included for 2. Support the Griffin Music Program and enjoy a vacation.
Hey guys! It's time for the GTV meeting!
GTV, our meetings are that good. What were all those kids doing in the woods?
Waiting for their call from the GTV sponsor that's just hanging out there.
Huh. Interesting.
Are they just not allowed to come out until they're told? I mean,
I don't know. It's all a blur.
Then they're good listeners. I mean,
they were ready.
Definitely.
They heard the rallying cry and they were ready.
As Kevin Ward got a nice hand after coming off the field, and we're back as Hayes is sacked in the backfield.
Hayes is sacked by number 98, Stewart.
A huge sack there by Stewart. As that'll be another loss for Central, who have taken some big hits already in this one. But I think that's expected. Taking big hits.
Well, I think when teams watch us on film, they sort of know what they're getting into with this defense of ours. And it's the same every year. It's that Rob Zavonar defense. They just reload.
Hayes had a man in motion. He'll hand it off up the middle, and they won't get too much on that one, probably 2 yards.
If you notice, all 11 Griffin defenders are literally, you know, within a couple of feet of the ball. They just swarm to it.
Adam Hold checks back in. 3rd and 16.
Well, this is how their last couple of series of downs have gone. You know, bad play, big 3rd down conversion.
Yeah.
So let's see what they have in store for us here.
Let's see if the hours of film watching can pay off here for the Griffins. Lots of practice this week, and I don't know if it was a lighter load than last week. It definitely put in a little bit more practice for Bolingbrook last week. However, you got to come out ready for every team as Hayes will drop back, looking for a man. He doesn't have a receiver that open, as that's incomplete, as a penalty marker is down. 3 Griffins were on him.
Yeah, I mean, nice throw into triple coverage, but the ball was where it needed to be. We're going to have to wait and see what this flag was.
Holding against the Griffins.
All right, well, that is going to be another Central 1st down. So far, their best play has been 3rd and long, and whatever they call.
Well, the Griffin defense definitely needs to toughen up a little bit more on defense, try to stay away from those penalties on 3rd down, and that could figure a lot more problems here as Central get another chance to get to the end zone here and tie the game up. Another great crowd out to watch a Lincoln-Way East game. As always, crowd making some noise.
3rd along 4.
As there'll be a stoppage by the refs. They're moving the ball.
Well, they're trying to figure out exactly what's going on right here. They've picked up the ball. They've moved it about a foot. But apparently it's going to be 3rd and 4. I was under the impression it would be an automatic 1st down, but silly me.
Hayes will drop back, hit, but it is a complete pass, short of the 1st down.
Pass is incomplete.
Actually, it was dropped right after he hit the ground. It had possession.
And the ball is intended for Beckhold, number 8. 4th and 4.
Pass was intended for number 8, Nick Beckhold. So now we'll go to 4th and 4 for the Knights. And it looks like they're going for it.
And the Knights are going to go for it.
Knights will come out with trips to the right and 1 wide receiver to the left. In the shotgun, Hayes will drop back. Looking for a man. That will be incomplete to the running back, number 18, Beck.
And the Griffins will take over and down.
Griffins take over on possession after the 4th down, trying to add to the already 7-0 score.
Not a good pass, but well covered. I don't know that it would have been a 1st down even had it been caught. I like the play call. You know, I like that they're being aggressive. I like that they went for it. It does make me feel like they don't have a lot of confidence in their ability to outscore the Griffins tonight. They feel they need to be that aggressive in the 1st quarter. But what it does is it gives the Griffins great field possession.
I really like the Griffins' coverage on the 3 wide receivers to the right as Fiesel will keep it immediately. Almost, I thought he was going to stay up. That's you could never expect Fiesel to go down, but as I was saying, I really liked the coverage on all the wide receivers, only allowing Hayes 1 option to the running back.
Yeah, that's one of the few times we've seen Tommy drop for a loss this season, but really nowhere for him to go there. So it does bring up 2nd and 12.
There's only one game I can recall where Fiesel went down numerous times, and that was the Sandberg game, which we didn't broadcast because it was away. Fiesel was brought down at least 4 times in the backfield, so that's one of the rare times where the defense really got to him.
And right now, Central, having forced a 3rd and 12, doesn't look like they're going to pay for their decision to go for it on 4th a minute ago. Unless East can come up with something big here, as Central's been doing on their last drive.
Well,
long was their best play.
Never doubt Tommy Fiesel is. Fiesel will keep it, and there goes Fiesel. Almost bobbles it, but he takes it back and goes to the 32-yard line. What a scare by Tommy Fiesel.
Well, I think he would have been gone.
Yeah.
I think he scores if that doesn't happen. The ball, he was squeezing it a little too tightly, and it just sort of popped out of his possession. It didn't take him long to recover it, but by then he lost his momentum. I think he probably scores if not for that.
Well, if you didn't hear the crowd's reaction on that one, it was a oh, and it was a ha-ha laughter. Oh, okay,
yeah,
he's got it.
Chuckle. Let's hope Tommy finds his way into the end zone later this drive to make up for that.
Fiesel in the shotgun, drops back. He'll look for his man complete. I think that's Josh Mihalovic.
Yep, good catch on the sideline there, and he'll battle for more yards.
Gobbled up near the 30-yard line. Short gain on the play.
Good catch by Mihalovic. That's one of his first catches of the year, so that's definitely puts up his morale. Wide receivers definitely don't get as much action as they did last year with Blake Winkler, with Tommy
A little
Fiesel
bit of a
with the run
different
game.
offense and a different emphasis, but you know, their blocks, hanging on to their blocks is one of the things that allows Tommy and the other guys to break those long runs.
Colangelo up the middle.
Stop made by number 32 of the Knights.
Should be one more play before the Griffins will switch sides at the end of the first quarter.
45 seconds to go with the clock running in the first quarter. That one did go by quick. As right after the snap, there will be a flag on that one. Coaches on the Lincoln-Way East side don't like it. False start on the offense.
Well, 3rd and a manageable 4 turns into 3rd and 9.
Well, third and long last. 3rd down. Fiesel was able to run, bobble, and contain, and get down for a first down.
The old run bobble.
We might invent a new play.
I like it.
Let's put it in a bunch of NFL playbooks. I think they'll use it. It's a new Wildcat. Fiesel drops back, looking for a man. He's out to Austin Winkler. Winkler almost had it.
Well, tough catch just because he had to go and reach back over the shoulder, his outside shoulder. Possibly could have been caught. Would have been a great play.
The younger brother of Blake Winkler continues to play for Lincoln-Way East, this time at wide receiver, and many would think that the younger brother would be a quarterback to live up to his older brother, but staying at wide receiver as Fiesel drops back. Here comes the pressure, gets to him. He stays on his feet for a couple seconds, but is brought down.
Well, I think you have to give Central credit. I mean, it's a great play. There's a flag on the field. We'll have to see what happens with that. But it looks like they're going to get the ball back, and they're not going to even lose much field position from their own unsuccessful 4th down conversion from a moment or two ago. So it will be the Griffin defense taking the field. Knights ball back, and that offense is frustrated. They probably should have had a touchdown on the run bobble, as you called it.
Fiesel on the sideline
could
is
have
unhappy.
Potentially had a touchdown on the pass to Winkler.
Yeah.
And just a blocking breakdown there on the 4th down.
Well, Fiesel came to the sideline. He was unhappy. Now talking to Nick Colangelo. As the Knight offense will come back out. 7-0, 18 seconds left to go in the first quarter. They got something to work with before they switch sides here. As Hayes is under center. He'll hand it off to Beck for 3 yards. And I think they'll let the clock run out. They'll switch.
It's a nice van.
Brendan King
Well,
back
there you
with
have
Dan
it,
Galligan.
Another fine commercial produced by Griffin Television.
We really love that truck, even though it broke down 4 times today.
Yeah, if you're listening out there and you've got a van you want to give us, the old GTV van had some trouble getting down to the football field tonight.
Yeah. Maybe we could take a swing by Auto Haas. Maybe they got a couple.
Yeah, I don't know. Our budget's pretty tight. We'll see. I'm going to have to do a little fundraising. But anyways, right now at the start of the second quarter, it is going to be Lincoln-Way Central ball. I think you have to be happy with the first quarter if you're Central. There was that opening drive by East. It looked like they scored pretty easily. And Central's been able to do a couple of things offensively, convert some big third downs, and then a big stop there on 4th down when the Griffins were going for it.
Well, it was definitely a more conservative first quarter for the Griffins, but really not for the Knights because they did go with the fake punt. They tried to pull some strings to see what would happen, but the Griffins hanging low, waiting to make things happen.
The fake punt was a nice play. I remember there was a throwback at one point, so some creative play calling. But ultimately, it hasn't gotten them anything.
Yeah.
Hasn't hurt them, but it hasn't done anything for them either. They're still losing 7-0.
Well, lots of football to play. Clock is running. Fresh clock for the second quarter. 3rd and 3. As Hayes is under center. Sends a lineman in motion. We'll hand it off, and it doesn't look like he got anywhere. Is no gain on that one.
Well, so far on 3rd down, they've had some creative play calls. They had a screen, they had a draw, but there was nothing special about that. That was just a run right up the middle, and there was nothing there.
More plays.
And even though this 4th down is less distance than the last one, and at a similar spot in the field, it looks like they're punting it.
Yeah. Well, more plays on the ground for the Knights, and I think that's partly because of our defensive backs. Our defensive backs have been so good this year. Sean Doherty, particularly, number 9, has 5 interceptions this year. I think 2 are pick sixes. And then Jarrett Leakas, he had a pick 6 last week. And our linebackers, of course, Kyle Langendorfer, Murphy, and O'Grady, along with Brendan Sleeman, our defensive backs are very, very good.
Well, I also think that their decision to punt there is partially based on the fact that they held us on offense the last series. So maybe they feel like they don't need to be overly aggressive because their defense is going to be able to contain us. I don't know about that. Okay, I kind of disagree, but that might be what they're thinking after holding us.
Well, it's definitely an idea for the Knights. So far, they're only holding us to 7 points. However, that could change quickly with Fiesel's speed and all of our weapons on offense.
Well, and we saw how quickly we were able to jump out to that lead last week versus Bolingbrook.
Yeah.
I mean, we were down 7-0, and the next thing you know, we'd scored 5 unanswered touchdowns. So it doesn't take long generally, and the referees will pick up the laundry on the field. So it will be East ball with over 10 minutes left in the second quarter.
Get a good shot of the huddle on your screen. Looks like Coach Palisard talking to his players about what the next offensive drive is going to be. Offense is doing that, then the defense is, as always, sitting on the benches with their backs turned to the field looking for their next defensive drive. So once they come off, they're on the benches looking for new plays.
Yeah, I would imagine that our defense misses out on a lot of great plays because they're always being talked to. They're always looking at the board. Coach Woodburn's always drawing things.
Yeah.
What's he drawing?
Smiley faces?
I'd like to know.
I don't know. Well, he's got the marker in hand, and along with Coach Newcomb down there. Coach Newcomb this year moving from an offensive line to the defensive line, and I think he's done a great job with it.
Well, he's a former offensive lineman himself, but he's primarily coached defensive lineman in his career, and you're right, he is doing a great job, and there has been no fall off in our defensive line play. He's doing a wonderful job.
Fiesel in the shotgun.
And, of course, Coach Newcomb played at Lincoln-Way Central, so.
Oh, he did.
Bittersweet day today for him.
Alma mater, place that pays me. I don't know.
I'm pretty
where
sure I know where his allegiance is. The game was going at a fairly good clip there for a while, but a couple of things lately have slowed it down.
Yeah, refs have they've been taking it slow tonight. I mean,
Yeah, let's let them play.
They put the ball down and they'll have it continue. So now 2nd and 8. Fiesel in the shotgun. Looks like an audible. Corbett and Colangelo right with him. He's got 3 wide receiver options. Fiesel will have a keeper. He'll get the first down and more, jumping over a Knight defender, and he'll get the first down up to the 33-yard line.
There have been times throughout the season where they've literally called that play about 3 or 4 times in a row, and Tommy has taken them right down the length of the field. So it'll be interesting to see if they go right back to it.
Well, now he's only got 1 running back with him. It looks like another audible here.
Well, they got to the line of scrimmage so quickly, they have time, so he's able to look to the sideline, get the play, relay it to his team, and still get it off in time.
Fiesel draws back, goes to his left, looking for a man. He'll keep it himself. Fiesel is on his feet. He'll be brought down just ahead of the marker. Tackle by Matt Schneider. Lincoln-Way speeding things up a little bit as they'll get to the line really quickly, forcing Lincoln-Way Central to get their play quickly as well. Knights charging a little bit. Here comes the blitz. Fiesel goes to Colangelo. It's complete. Nick Colangelo is off. He'll get to the 40 and more. Back to the 30. A jump by Colangelo. Colangelo is out. And touchdown, Nick Colangelo. Is he stopped?
Not so fast, GTV. That may not be a touchdown. In fact, they're saying he's down at the half-yard line.
Do we? Let's have some instant replay.
We saw that play run for a touchdown last week. That throwback screen, and it goes big again. 63+ yards.
Wow. Well, it's a good and bad thing. Good because it gets them fantastic position on the goal line, and bad because, I mean, Nick Colangelo, he worked really hard for that one. I mean, he really was busting his guts for that.
And that's a play that they just sort of set up all game. You know, they know when the right time to call it is. They know when the rush is going to be there, and that's when they call that play. It's worked to perfection the last 2 weeks. And you can see the Griffins sort of catching their breath there on the field. Great shot from our cameraman. There's Coach Lokang.
Coach Lokang talking with his wide receivers, Daniels and Corbett. And now a shot of the Knights taking the field. So after a very long run, the Griffins will try and get a touchdown from short on the goal line.
Lincoln-Way using every last second of that timeout after that long play.
Well, that play, that call of that being not a touchdown was definitely not the best news in the world for Lincoln-Way East fans, as Fiesel will keep it. Is he in, though? Touchdown, Lincoln-Way East. So after all that, Fiesel will finally get in, and there's a Central player shaken up. Super fans running across the field as even in this cold weather they go shirtless.
Well, they're painted.
Well,
does that count?
I don't know. I've really never painted my chest before, and I really don't want to know either.
You don't know what you're missing.
Got a score update from Mr. Miller across from us. Bolingbrook 6, Sandburg 0, as Bolingbrook tries to retaliate from last week's loss.
Now, when Mr. Miller spoke the score, was that for your benefit or was that for somebody else's?
I don't know. Let's ask him.
All right. Who does he know at these games that's updating him on these
Oh,
scores?
Mr. Miller, he's got contacts all over the world.
Carmel 10, JCA 0. RC 6. Who's RC? The Cola? Reed Custer 6. Willowbrook 13. Sandburg 0. Bolingbrook 6. Lamont 35. Hillcrest 0. And then here's the score of this game. This isn't accurate. Lincoln-Way Central 0, East 7. Hey, Miller, these scores can't be trusted. It says we're only winning 7-0.
Is there like a defect in that iPhone 5? I don't know what's going on here.
If you ask Siri right now, what's the score of the East Central game, what does it say?
I mean, I thought the iPhone 5 was supposed to have all these new gizmos that could tell you anything.
It should.
Shirini is on for the extra point. Kick is up. Kick is good.
So 14-0 Griffins. Take that, Siri. Today, of course, the one-year anniversary of Steve Jobs' death.
Well, didn't Steve Jobs, he did design the iPhone 5, didn't he, before he died? Let's ask our Apple and weather expert here.
I mean, I'm not there at those meetings. I don't know when they started designing the 5, but he was involved in everything, so...
Well, not only is Mr. Miller a weather expert, he's an Apple expert. Everything he owns is Apple. His classroom is made up of everything Apple. You go in there, it's just Apple, everything.
He's part of the Apple family.
Folks, everybody on your feet.
And so are you.
I'm part of that family, too. That makes Steve Miller my father. Hi, Dad. Can I have some money? Can I borrow the car tonight?
All right. Well, jokes aside, the Griffins are up 14-0. 8 minutes left as Tommy Fiesel is on for the kickoff. A nice kick from Tommy Fiesel as this one is returnable for the Knights. The Knights will take it up. They're past the 20-yard line, hit hard at the 25.
There have been a couple of big hits so far this game. So 8 minutes left in the second quarter. Central gets the ball back. If they could score here, I think they'd be pretty pleased with themselves. Of course, East doesn't want to let that happen. Brendan, can you tell me what former Lincoln-Way Central football player you're going to see tomorrow?
I cannot. That's some trivial I can't answer.
Well, there was a young man that played for Central a few years ago. I'll probably mess up his name. I want to say it was like Jake Wyclaw or something like that. Great kicker, actually. And he's a member of the University of Miami.
Oh, really?
In town to play Notre Dame.
Well, why don't you tell us what football game you're most looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, I'd probably keep my eye on that Notre Dame game at Soldier Field. Yeah, how about you?
I think I will, too. A very close eye, actually.
Very close.
Very close.
Like 100 level close.
Yeah, with some Lake Michigan breezes.
Bundle up.
Yeah, after an 80-degree day on Thursday, it's really starting to get cold.
Yeah, I mean, this is fall weather. This is maybe even a little worse than fall weather. I don't mind, like, you know, having to put a hoodie on. I don't want to get all bundled up, though.
Picked off by Mitch Murphy. Murphy is down the sidelines as he's knocked out right in front of our ground cam.
I'm pretty sure that Murphy not only tipped that, but made the interception as well. So a tremendously athletic play. And East gets the ball back. They've got great field position. And we talked a few minutes ago about how quickly scores can come. We thought to ourselves, hey, it's only 7-0. But we did say, yeah, but they can score in bunches. And that appears to be the case now.
Just like I was talking about earlier, Central, they're really refraining from the pass. After this especially, I think they'll keep it on the ground even more. The offense comes back out. Tommy Fiesel with Justin Corbin and Nick Colangelo in the shotgun. Austin Winkler is to his left. So let's see. And we got some movement on Central's part as Fiesel will keep it, and he's in the end zone. However, I saw a flag on the field, so we'll see if that one's brought back.
Boy, I hope that's not against us, because what a great run. A couple of Tommy's best runs this season have been brought back on penalties. They're still going to look great on the highlight reel, but it's unfortunate they didn't count.
That one will be brought back on a false start on Lincoln-Way East, as that doesn't suit well with Coach Palisard or Lokank. Uh-oh, the ref's got to spot the ball again. So the Griffins will come out in the same formation with the shotgun with Fiesel, Corbett, and Colangelo. That one's taken by Justin Corbett. Corbett runs. He's almost in the end zone. There's another flow.
I'm
No.
tired of these penalties.
Oh,
I don't
boy.
care what they're doing. Just stop throwing penalties so this game can end at some point.
Did these refs just come from the Seattle-Green Bay game?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but let them play.
Holding.
Let them play.
Yeah,
And
we
the
hear from the
fans,
crowd.
You're
Yep.
starting to hear the same thing from the fans.
Yep.
Let's go. Come on.
I can only imagine what the words on the sideline are as the ref is talking to two of East coaches, as now it'll be brought back
Every
even
ref
more.
in the world has to prove they know what they're doing now by throwing penalties.
Yeah.
All right, so this brings up, I don't know,
First and 19.
20?
Yeah. Well, we'll try and get another play as it's Fiesel and Colangelo now. Justin Corbett has moved to a wide receiver slot, as maybe we'll see the pass here as Fiesel drops back, but he'll charge right away. He'll get a couple of yards out of it, but still in the backfield.
I think he needs to let that develop for just a half second longer. Has to sell the pass just a little bit harder before he can find that lane to shoot through.
Well, Tommy Fiesel, he's still learning, and I think that's one thing he'll develop over time. Still his first year as a starting quarterback, so you're always going to have that. Tommy Fiesel drops back, pass to Corbett. Corbett is in the end zone, no, incomplete. And more boos from the fans.
Well, there have been about 3 touchdowns on this drive. Unfortunately, none of them have counted. 2 because of penalty, and one on a drop right there.
Third and
The good news
16.
is East has one more chance at it. 3rd and 16.
Let's see if they can do it here. Fiesel once again drops back. He'll scramble again. Here comes Tommy Fiesel. Tried to pass again. He'll run out of bounds. And no flags, so.
Progress. So that'll bring out the field goal team. A little bit of a disappointment given a couple of the plays that we thought we had scored on.
Here's Anthony Chiarini, who has struggled a little bit with field goals this season. He'll try to make one from the 20. Brett Fiesel on the hold. Here's the snap. Chiarini's kick is up, and it is good. Anthony Chiarini makes the field goal, 17-0 in favor of the Griffins.
Well done from 31 yards. As you said, that makes it a 17-point Griffin lead with 6 minutes to go. And more than enough time to get the ball back and see if we can't get that touchdown back.
Well, the flags have definitely cost the Griffins so far. They've had a couple possible touchdowns that have been brought back, so that's something definitely to talk about during halftime.
And if you're Lincoln-Way Central, you look up at the scoreboard and you probably don't feel real good about it, but at the same time, you know, they did their job there. They held East to a field goal, so something to be happy about.
Here's Fiesel back to kickoff, staying busy tonight.
joined by 23, Ladina.
Fans get on their feet as Central is ready to return the kick. 17-0, 6 minutes left.
That's not allowed here, Lincoln-Way East. I see you. On your feet. Let's make some noise.
Fans making noises. Both bands are getting excited as well. The East band in the south end zone, Central in the north. And here's Fiesel's kick. It's a line drive that could go out of bounds, and it will.
Not one of the better kicks you'll see, but Tommy's having a nice game.
You'll give it to him?
Yeah. Well, that will happen from time to time because he's a toe kicker.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you don't hit that thing essentially dead on in the middle of the ball, you'll see that happen. If he were to kick with his instep, less likely that would happen. But, you know, you've got your soccer-style kickers and you've got your toe kickers. You're straight on.
Well, also, Fiesel's main job is being a quarterback. And last year we had Will, who was also a soccer player. So his main job was kicking the ball as far as he can and as hard as he could.
Well, that is his main job, but as you know, he also kicks off, he punts, so he is a jack of all trades.
Yeah. And Fiesel will immediately head to the sideline with the rest of the offense to talk things over with Coach Lokank. As that one's run up and quickly brought down by the Lincoln-Way East defense. There's a loss of 1, which makes it 2nd and 11. Cal Hayes is delivering the play to his team. He's under center with 1 running back. Sends a man in motion. He'll toss it to back. Will take it 4 yards to the 40-yard line. Got a little more than I thought. He got 6 on that. See, we've sat by both coaches' boxes because we're on the right side of the middle press box tonight, and we've sat by the East coaches, we sat by the Central coaches, and so far it seems like the Central coaches are a little bit more mellow than what we've seen out of the East coaches.
Well, that's one word that the East coaching staff has never been described as, mellow.
Hayes scrambled on that one, dodged a Lincoln-Way East lineman, which will make it 4th and 5. Central's offense stayed on the field for a couple seconds. Then their punt team came on. Justin Corbett gets ready to receive. Punt, it's on its way as Corbett will get a chance to receive here. He will not have a fair catch on that one, and as usually is called for the fair catch, decides to try and run it. He did have a punt return for a touchdown in the Sandburg game, but this one won't go too far as the Lincoln-Way East offense will come back out.
And despite the score and a couple of nice plays, long plays, I wouldn't exactly say that our offense has been in rhythm tonight. You know, I think Central has done a fairly good job of containing us.
Yeah.
Forced a couple of punts, certainly more than Bolingbrook was able to do last week.
Yeah, you know, the two defensives that have really, you know, made us out of our element this year, to me, have been Sandburg and Lincoln-Way Central. And to me, those are two teams that it's like, okay, you know, they're two of our rivals, but
sure, but
still,
you know, Bolingbrook, you think, oh, okay, you know, HF, ooh, they're going to be tough. Montini.
Yeah.
And speak of the devil, here comes another long run.
Tommy Fiesel dodges, and he's brought down at the 35. And like we were talking, yeah, we wouldn't expect it out of these two teams. I really expected Montini to give us more of a challenge than they did, and so far we're Montini's only loss.
Well, and Montini is in the top 10, so even though they have that loss, I think people are saying, all right, but, you know, it's a good loss. So we understand that it was against a very good Lincoln-Way East team.
Also, it was a blow to Montini because I mentioned this to you, is their first loss to a public school in 5 years. So Fiesel drops back. Incomplete to Chris Perry.
Pass incomplete, intended for Perry. There on the coverage was number 6, Bada.
That one was delivered lightning quick by Tommy Fiesel as a cannon for an arm, and when you get too close, it comes at you quick. Fiesel in the shotgun's got 4 wide receivers, and Nick Colangelo to his left now. Movement on Central's linebackers as the carry goes to Colangelo as late the penalty markers fly.
Stanfield's there on the stop.
Let's see if it's on us again. Holding on the Griffins. So that's 10 yards back.
Second and 16 for the Griffins at the 41-yard line of Central.
Fiesel will line up after the holding call. 2nd and 16, 3:21 left. Getting a play from the sideline from Coach Lokank. Fiesel taking his time a little bit. He'll drop back to his left. Looking for a man. Who has he got? It's Justin Corbett with the catch. And he'll step out and out of bounds at the 2.
Great job of Fiesel squaring his shoulders as he sprinted to his left. Able to square the shoulders and hit Corbett with a strike. Once again, down, well, a little bit of a debate here. One ref had him down at the 1, another one has him back at about the 5. So the ball is currently spotted on the 5.
So many refs with so many opinions.
It is a first down, though, and with 3 minutes left, the Griffins have plenty of time to increase their lead.
Well, 1st and goal is always a good news for the Griffins as Fiesel keeps it. He'll jump into the end zone for a touchdown. 5 yards for Tommy Fiesel to add to his night. 23-0. As Shirini will come out for the extra point, trying to make it 24.
Well, you see East run that little option play a lot where he sticks it in the running back's belly and he can either leave it there or he can take it himself, but that's as long as I've seen him hold that fake, the longest I've seen him to make that decision. And ultimately, he ripped it back out because he saw a seam and he was able to get it in the end zone.
Fiesel with another running touchdown to add to his career this season. $23-0. And that one's a line drive by Shirini, but it's a good extra point. Make it 24, as that was kind of a scary one by Anthony Shirini there. I don't know if somebody got a hand on it or not, but either way, it counts as a point.
First game, the Cardinals advance, defeating the Braves 6-3. Orioles-Rangers 1-1. Orioles and Rangers are not in.
Lots of action going on tonight in other sports as baseball playoffs are starting.
Well, yeah, sort of an interesting thing this year with the 2 wild card teams in each league. So tonight you've got the, I guess, what do you call it, the win and you're in game,
pretty much,
so to speak.
Yeah. Well, and you know, something tonight that nobody has said yet is this has been Chipper Jones' last game. So it's unfortunate. A career of a fantastic third baseman, potential Hall of Famer, is over.
Yeah, and from what I understand, he committed an error in that game. Hopefully it wasn't too dramatic, but
there's other dramatic stuff in that game as Fiesel kicks off, and that one could go out of bounds again. It will.
The Knights will have it 1st and 10 from their 35-yard line. Blame yourself, folks.
And speaking of baseball, we won't have playoff baseball here in Chicago again, so I think both teams are trying to keep hope here. I mean, as a Sox fan, I'm a Cubs fan. I mean, neither of our teams have played well. Well, my team has played terribly. And I mean, really, the Sox also, they choked at the end, so both
They
teams.
sure did.
Yeah.
I wasn't too disappointed, though. You can't be, because they were never supposed to be even in the conversation. So be happy that they kept things interesting most of the season. A little disappointing that they didn't make it, but, you know, it is what it is. You've got a team in that division with a Triple Crown winner, somebody who's probably going to win the Cy Young for the second year in a row, and another guy in Prince Fielder who would be, you know, probably the best player on the White Sox. So for the Tigers to have taken as long as they did to get going is just shocking.
Well, when you have the first Triple Crown winner since 1967, a beast known as Prince, it's kind of hard for them not to win the division.
Yeah, and they have another pitcher aside from Verlander and Scherzer who's a Cy Young candidate in his own right. So.
Here's Hayes under center. Actually, that's not Hayes. It's Jeremy Wilson coming in relief for Hayes. Looked like him, but number 4 is on the field now for Central.
Well, he put that ball right where it needed to be, but the receiver unable to hang on. Probably a good thing that he didn't, because to me that looked like a fumble. I thought he controlled the ball before dropping it, but apparently not. So that brings up a 3rd and 11. And realistically, the Griffins could get the ball back with a chance to score before the half.
Well, Central's shaking things up a bit with putting Wilson in. Wilson is bigger than Hayes, 6'4", 200 pounds. He's a senior. Also, it comes with that more experience. Wilson will drop back. He's not afraid to pass here as that one's complete. Tackled by Lingendorfer right away, and flags fly again. Roughing the passer on the Griffins. We've seen a lot of yellow on the field today. Unfortunately, really none of it has been caused by Lincoln-Way Central. They're really contributing.
No, I think most of the penalties have not only been against East, but in several cases have negated touchdowns or really long plays.
And that one roughing the passer, I think that might be one of the worst penalties of the night. I mean, you never want to see a penalty that severe with 15 yards going Central's way as Wilson's under center. He'll drop back to pass again. That one will be off the hands of Brendan Sleeman.
Yeah, overthrown and then through the hands of Sleeman. It's funny, last week was just an absolutely dominant first half performance, but ultimately we went into halftime with a 28-point lead. Whereas this half doesn't feel as dominant, but you look up at the scoreboard and essentially the same lead, although just a little bit less, 24 points.
I think that's the difference of defenses that we've seen over the past 2 weeks. Bolingbrook's defense, they weren't as good as expected, but Lincoln-Way Central's defense...
Probably a little better than expected.
Yeah, and that's what Fiesel was telling me about earlier today. Their defensive line is talented. They're big, and they're able to get to you as that one's incomplete again from Wilson. But whoever is the defensive coordinator for the Knights has definitely done a great job in preparing them for tonight's game. In, well, containing Fiesel, even though it is 24-0, it could have been a lot worse.
Well, it still may be. There's 2 minutes left in the first half, and it is 3rd and 10. So depending on what Central wants to do here, the Griffins could be getting the ball back with plenty of time.
Well, 3rd and 10, one more incomplete pass by Wilson, and that will do it. As this one will be passed, that is complete this time.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be... He's not going to get the first down, but he's close enough that Central will now go for it, I'm sure.
Receiver was immediately trucked by Kyle Lingendorfer. And Wilson will come back out with a play for his team, and they will go for it like you suggested. It's 4th and 2. Wilson's under center again. That's what he's done. Oh, fumble! Who's got it? East says they have it.
Well, what do you know? We get the ball back a little bit different way,
Yeah.
but with just over a minute left, minute 20, we'll see what East can do.
Well, do you think they're going to play a little conservative here?
No, I think they'll run a couple of legitimate plays and see what happens. And, you know, if nothing comes of it, if it's 3rd and 10, then yeah, you know, then they'll probably just run out the clock. But I think they'll take a shot here.
And there's so many weapons to take a shot with that you never know who can come up. It wasn't until a couple weeks ago that Austin Winkler really became a wide receiver that Fiesel really tried to end through to. Chris Perry also. Perry had a huge catch in, I think, maybe it was the HF game that really put him as one of the top wide receivers.
Well, Tommy keeps the ball. You might think that is playing it conservative, but, you know, with his big playability and his speed, I mean, that may be your best chance to get down the field quickly.
No huddle on that one as Fiesel will scramble. He's looked to pass in the first place, but he'll run for the first down now.
Good enough for a Griffin. First down.
Fiesel getting to play again from Coach Palisard, and trying to run it quick, but even though the clock is stopped, he's got a little time, but he has Duffin open. Doesn't see him, though. Duffin was open in the middle, but Fiesel kept it anyway. He'll be brought down just ahead of the marker.
And all that scrambling, I know he was trying to keep that play alive, but that burns 11 seconds off the clock, so East will take a timeout. Just under 45 seconds left. Okay, little gain on the play. If you're thinking about field goal range, you probably need about another 25 yards.
Well, in that play, Kevin Duffin, he really wasn't spotted by any of the defenders. He was open on around the 40-yard line all alone, and he took a cut and was wide open, but Fiesel, of course, staying on his feet like usual, and you never know what can happen when he does that, but if he could have gotten it to Duffin, it could have been a completely different drive here. They're still auctioning off that trip to Hawaii. Got to put in for that.
I hear Hawaii's nice this time of year.
I hear it's nice all the time.
Let's go. Okay, they've had a couple of minutes to think about it. Let's see what the Griffins want to do coming out of the timeout.
Well, they're in the shotgun. Doesn't automatically signal pass because Fiesel always runs out of there as that's complete to Chris Perry.
That plays fine if you get out of bounds, but if you get tackled right away, you know, I think you gain about 2 yards there, and it's going to essentially run the clock down quite a bit.
Fiesel's got to get the play quick as he'll be back in the shotgun. Draws back to pass. No rest time here for the Griffins as Fiesel will launch it up to Corbett. Corbett cannot reach over the defender's head. Defending Corbett was number 2, Brandon Egan.
Yeah, and now it's 4th down, so I would imagine that you play it safe here and you just kick the ball away, although there does appear to be some indecision on the Griffins' part. But now the punt team comes out.
Late decision on that one as Fiesel doesn't have to run to the sideline. He'll, of course, stay out the punt. Fiesel's changed from a quarterback to a punter in a matter of seconds. Got to adjust to it. High snap. Fiesel's got to get it off quick. He does. That's a high punt. Returner signals for the fair catch. That one will bounce out of bounds.
And one of the nice things about having Tommy back there as your punter is he's such a great athlete. Ball like that, bad snap, could have easily gone over somebody else's head, but he was able to corral it and get a pretty good kickoff. So that will essentially end the half. Lincoln-Way Central will have to run one more play. I'd be surprised if they did anything other than just kneel down. And going into halftime, it's going to be 24-0 Lincoln-Way East.
Well, during halftime, we'll have the band, Poms, and cheerleaders perform. We'll also have a halftime show from our very own GTV. Central will take a knee, and the clock will run out in the first half. After one half, the Griffins, who have been contained by Fiesel.
Felt like they've been
I mean, it really
contained
has.
to a
I can't really
certain
get the
extent, but then
word.
you look at the scoreboard, and it's 24-0. So maybe not as exciting or dynamic a half as last week versus Bolingbrook, but nevertheless, when you go and you tally up the yards and everything else, it will have been, a dominant first half. But maybe just not as exciting. But nevertheless, 24-0, Lincoln-Way East. If you're Central, you did some nice things. You had a couple of decent drives on offense. You've contained Tommy Fiesel to a certain extent, but ultimately you're nowhere near where you need to be in terms of the score.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a bittersweet result.
Well, it is, but hey, we'll take the 24 points, of course. We'll go into halftime. They'll probably be talking about penalties in the locker room and making sure they don't take those bad penalties. I think that's the key to the second half.
Well, right now I see that the Poms and cheerleaders and whatnot are getting ready, and I think we've got a little halftime recap ready for you. So we're going to send it down to Aaron Perch and Mike Deacon.
Hi, I'm Michael Deacon, and welcome to this edition of the GTV Halftime Show. I'm alongside Aaron Perch, as always, and tonight the Griffins have been dominating the Lincoln-Way Central Knights, resulting in a halftime score of 24-0. Aaron, give us a rundown of what happened so far.
Well, the Griffins' offense is a little slow to start. Central's front line was a little disruptive in the run game, but then the Griffins got their read option play between Fiesel and Colangelo running. And after that, it was history because they started to run all over the Knights. And after 2 quarters, they got a pretty good lead.
All right, and now what do the Griffins have to do to keep up their success in the second half?
Well, I think they got to play smart football. And by that, I mean they can't try to do too much. They can't commit penalties, and they can't commit turnovers. If they stay within the limits of what they're good at doing, they should be in a good position not only to win this game, to maintain the shutout as well.
All right, there you have it. We hope you're right, and we hope that they keep up their success in the second half. As always, go East, go Griffins, go Blue.
Now coming out to midfield, your Lincoln-Way East varsity Pound. The Lincoln-Way Central marching on.
After a halftime show, and the cheerleaders and Pounds will have the bands come out, and they'll be performing. the always great halftime show.
Come down and say hi.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, until like Wednesday.
So what are you gonna do?
Hang out here a little bit, all of that stuff.
They perform Thursday
Like
night.
standstill operation.
There's a lot to do. Just to figure out.
How are classes?
Pretty good. I was some teachers, so.
Oh, wow.
Some real good. Yeah. Now, but everybody knows that, so they give me like other projects too. Right. So in some ways, I'm even busier. Because they know I'm not at the best. They're like, here, decorate this display case. I don't know how to do that. Actually, I don't know if you heard about this, but the teachers did like a flash mob.
They did?
At a pep rally last Friday. And it's actually, it's on YouTube now. But I had to edit the video.
So thank you. The breeze is chilly.
Yeah.
Was it that?
It was at the Friday pep rally.
I gotta let Mr. know.
Go run down.
Hi, my name is Brooke Braun here with Griffin Television, and these are two girls part of the Marching Griffins. This is Megan and Maggie. Girls, what do you do? What do you play?
We're in the pit.
You're in the pit, and what is the pit?
It's the front ensemble. It's the percussion that's in the front of the band, but they don't march.
Awesome. And Megan, how long have you been playing?
I just started playing this year, and I've been playing piano since I was 8.
Nice. And Maggie, I know when I get cold, my hands start to freeze up, and it's really hard for me to do things. Is it hard to play an instrument when you're cold?
It's more difficult than it was if it's normal outside. It's more of an annoyance than anything else.
Well, good luck tonight, and stay warm. You're welcome. Again, my name is Brooke Braun here with Griffin Television, and these are part of the Marching Griffins.
Bundle up, wear your monkeys. Yeah, I heard that. I also heard, isn't this the game that they have not met up for how many years? Yeah, it's about 5 years or how many years?
Either way, it's gonna win.
Yeah. I heard, I was hearing it on.
Oh, is that?
Yeah. We're a little far away from the signal.
I couldn't get it to load the second time. I wanted to show us something.
It's Griffin Television, yo.
Griffin Television.
No money, that's why.
Hey, they did pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your very own Lincoln-Way East Marching Griffins.
For being old folks.
Tonight, the Marching Griffins will perform the music of punk rock band Green Day. Please welcome drum majors Justin Suda, Ellen Havorka, and Teresa Mountford, and the 2012 Lincoln-Way East Marching Griffins.
But it's perfectly normal if you're out there doing that, but if we do it, it's weird.
tomorrow.
Nurse, scalpel.
GTV, what are you gonna do?
Hey, what are you doing? Get up!
GTV, you can trust us.
GTV, we're running out of ideas.